call upon the public orator, Professor Michael Wilkinson, to read the citation on the Honorary Graduand, Henry Hu Hung Lik.
Mr. Pro-Chancellor, Dr. the Honourable Henry Hu Hung Lik is a brilliant man who attained high rank and status and then devoted himself wholeheartedly to philanthropy, in particular to the provision of higher education for those who could not otherwise secure a place in a tertiary institution. Dr. Hu was born in Zhejiang province in 1920, which I believe makes him a remarkable 95 years of age. He came from an intellectual background rather than a wealthy background, but his father died when he was still quite young, and he did not attend school until he was 8 years of age. He was, however, an extremely bright child. One of his early escapades, when he was 15, was to leave school to join the Chinese Navy in their fight against Japan's Navy, without telling his mother. He soon became disillusioned with the Navy, however, and returned to his studies. He completed his school-leaving examination, graduating as the top student out of some 30,000 competitors, and I rather think by this time his mother may have forgiven him. He then studied law and diplomacy at the National University of Political Science in China, intending to become a diplomat. Again, having obtained outstanding results, he learnt Russian before assuming a post in Tashkent in today's Uzbekistan. It also happened before going to Tashkent that he made what was perhaps the most important move of his life. He married Dr. Chung Chi-yung, and the couple embarked together upon a wonderful adventure. Indeed, almost everything from then on became part of a joint venture. Their lives and successes were indivisibly interwoven. The happy couple first went to France to study, where Dr. Hu, at his own expense, obtained a doctorate in law and a diploma of high studies in international law and international affairs from the University of Paris. Dr. Hu has shown me his thesis, which is entitled The Korean Problem. It is written in French. In fact, I must tell you, this is not in my script, but I went to Dr. Hu's office in '95, and he mentioned his thesis and then jumped up, younger than I could have done, over to the bookcase, blah, 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 blah. There it is. Here you are, Mr. Wilkinson, here's my thesis, and handed me a copy of it in French, so I can testify, A, that I've seen the thesis in French, and B, that he doesn't need to remain seated. Indeed, speaking additional languages of Russian and French, Dr. Hu must indeed be a remarkably talented linguist. Dr. Hu then decided that a career in law more befitted him than a career as a diplomat in government service. So he traveled to England to study for the bar. Having successfully passed his bar examinations and having been admitted by the Middle Temple in 1954, he decided to establish his practice in Hong Kong. Upon their arrival, Dr. Chung pursued an academic life, while Dr. Hu commenced his practice at the bar. Dr. Hu quickly gained a reputation for assisting the poorer members of our community, in particular in his specialist area of Chinese customary law, Qing law, in respect of family and succession matters. Indeed, he became so well versed in Qing law that he was frequently called as an expert in court on such matters. Remarkably, he continued to practice and appear in court into his late 80s. I'm sure he set a record as the oldest practicing barrister in Hong Kong. Dr. Hu has also devoted his time and energy to public service. In 1976, he was appointed to the Legislative Council and also served as a prominent member of the Urban Council. In particular, he advocated the cause for Chinese to become one of Hong Kong's official languages. Both Dr. Hu and his wife were not, however, satisfied merely with leading successful professional lives. They were concerned about many social issues, one of which was the acute shortage of tertiary education places available, especially for those lacking substantial funds. In 1971, largely through the inspiration of Dr. Chung, the illustrious pair founded Shuyan College, meaning, of course, a place for the cultivation of virtue. Their aim was to provide a liberal arts education based upon Confucian values, stressing the importance of Chinese culture. With their hard-earned money, they purchased land and buildings in Happy Valley and in Wan Chai and started to admit students to their programs. Despite offers from government to provide additional funds, Dr. Hu and his wife did not want to have to comply with the strings attached, and they rejected the offers. Shuyan was, of course, enormously successful, and in 1976 was recognized by government as a private tertiary institution. It was only, however, in 2006, after many years of increasing success and having gained a stellar reputation for the academic quality of its courses, that government accredited Shuyan College with university status under its new name, the Hong Kong Shuyan University. It was the first and remains the only private university in Hong Kong. Sadly, Dr. Chung passed away last year. But their children, imbued with their parents' dream, have enthusiastically taken up the challenge of running the institution. Dr. Hu is now its president, and he continues to play an active role, particularly in matters of campus development. Dr. Hu's two sons, Dr. Hu Fai-chung and Professor Hu Yao-shu, have followed their parents' example and continue to serve the community by providing administrative and academic leadership to Shuyan University. In sum, Shuyan's success has been achieved through the joint determination and individual talents of the two doctors. While Dr. Chung provided the pedagogic leadership and looked after academic concerns, Dr. Hu took responsibility for providing the necessary funds, and with his many connections, planned and oversaw the construction of new buildings, including student accommodation, and the logistics in running the institution. Theirs was a truly harmonious and symbiotic endeavor. Over more than 40 years, many thousands of students have benefited from the generosity and inspiration of the two doctors. And Shuyan University is now fully established and admired amongst Hong Kong's tertiary institutions. Dr. Hu has received countless honors and distinctions. He was awarded an honorary OBE by the colonial government. It had to be honorary, since he was not a British citizen. That was in 1964. And more than 30 years later, he received both a Grand Bahinia Medal and Gold Bahinia Star from the HKSAR government. He also served as a member of the Standing Committee of the 9th CPPCC National Committee. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Hu and his wife have devoted themselves selflessly to community service, particularly in broadening the opportunities for tertiary education for our younger generation. They deserve our profound admiration and gratitude. Dr. Hu tells me that he has, through his industrious life, been guided by one fundamental principle: learn to see things from others' perspectives and put your own self-interest last. Mr. Pro-Chancellor, it is my honour and privilege to present to you Dr. the Honourable Henry Hu Hun Lik for the degree of Doctor of Social Sciences, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Social Sciences, honoris causa. Congratulations.